Most people believe their destiny is shaped by luck, by opportunities, by other people. Machiavelli knew something far more unsettling. He understood that destiny is shaped, quietly and relentlessly, by the person who controls his inner world while others are ruled by theirs. Power is not loud. Power is calm. And the man who cannot control his emotions will always live inside a destiny written by someone else. This is not a video about suppressing feelings. This is not about pretending to be cold. This is about emotional command, the ability to remain clear, composed, and deliberate when others collapse into reaction. This is where Stoicism and Machiavelli meet, not in morality. But in mastery. 1. The dangerous truth about emotions. Emotions are not the enemy, but unmanaged emotions are liabilities. Machiavelli never argued that emotions should be eliminated. He argued that they must be governed. In his view, the fastest way to lose power is to allow anger, fear, pride, or compassion to decide your actions for you. A ruler who reacts emotionally becomes predictable, and predictability is weakness. The Stoics arrived at the same conclusion from a different path. Marcus Aurelius wrote that external events do not disturb us, our judgments about them do. Different language. Same reality. When emotion controls judgment, judgment loses authority. And when judgment loses authority, destiny is no longer yours. 2. Emotional reaction is theft of power. Every emotional outburst steals something from you. Anger steals leverage. Fear steals clarity. Excessive compassion steals authority. Pride steals adaptability. Machiavelli observed that men in power rarely fall because they lack intelligence. They fall because, at a critical moment, they react instead of choosing. A man who reacts hands control to circumstance. A man who pauses forces circumstance to wait. This pause, this space between stimulus and response, is the birthplace of power. Stoicism calls it discipline of assent. Machiavelli calls it prudence. Different traditions. Same weapon. 3. Real history. When emotion destroyed power. Consider King Louis XVI of France. By intelligence alone, he was not incapable, but emotionally, he was overwhelmed. Fear made him indecisive. Guilt made him hesitate. Compassion made him delay necessary action. While he struggled internally, others acted decisively. The result was not mercy. It was collapse. History is ruthless toward emotionally undisciplined leaders. Not because emotion is immoral, but because emotion without command creates chaos. Machiavelli would not have called Louis evil. He would have called him unfit. For Stoic control vs. emotional suppression, this distinction matters deeply. Suppressing emotion is weakness. Controlling emotion is strength. The Stoic does not deny anger. He observes it. He does not deny fear. He measures it. He does not deny desire. He disciplines it. Machiavelli understood this instinctively. An emotionally intelligent man does not eliminate feeling. He delays expression. He chooses timing. He decides when emotion serves strategy and when it destroys it. A man who explodes emotionally may feel powerful for seconds. A man who remains calm gains power for years. 5. Fear. The most profitable emotion to control fear governs crowds. Fear dissolves loyalty. Fear accelerates betrayal. Machiavelli noted that people fear loss more than they value virtue. This is not cynicism. It is observation. But here is the paradox. The leader who is ruled by fear is the weakest of all. Fear clouds judgment. It narrows perception. It shortens time horizons. A Stoic Machiavellian mind uses fear as information, not as a guide. He asks, "What is this fear telling me?" Not, "How do I escape it?" This single difference separates rulers from victims. 6. Anger, the confession of inner weakness. Anger feels powerful, but it is a confession. It announces that something has touched you. Machiavelli warned that visible anger reveals priorities to enemies and vulnerabilities to rivals. The Stoics agreed. Seneca wrote extensively on anger, calling it a temporary madness, not because it is intense, but because it removes choice. A man who cannot restrain anger cannot restrain consequence. Calm, on the other hand, terrifies manipulators. Because calm reveals nothing. 7. Real story. Abraham Lincoln, an emotional discipline. Abraham Lincoln wrote letters when angry. Then he never sent them. These letters, later discovered, were filled with emotion, frustration, even rage. But the world never saw them. What the world saw was a man of restraint, patience, and timing. Lincoln understood instinctively what Stoicism teaches philosophically and Machiavelli teaches strategically. Emotion may be felt, but expression must be chosen. This discipline preserved his authority in the most emotionally volatile moment of American history. 8. Compassion, a virtue that must be measured. This is where many misunderstand Machiavelli. He did not reject compassion. He rejected uncontrolled compassion. Compassion without boundaries creates dependency. Compassion without judgment invites disorder. Machiavelli argued that cruelty used once, decisively, can prevent endless suffering later. This is not moral cruelty. It is structural discipline. Stoicism echoes this principle inwardly. Mercy toward yourself must not excuse weakness. Kindness toward others must not sabotage order. True compassion is not emotional overflow. It is deliberate action. 9. Destiny is built in moments of pressure. Destiny is not shaped in comfort. It is shaped in moments of pressure. When emotion demands immediate release and discipline demands restraint. Every time you choose restraint, you reinforce sovereignty over your life. Every time you react impulsively, you surrender it. Machiavelli believed fate favors the prepared mind. Stoicism teaches the same truth through inner training. Destiny does not respond to hope. It responds to command. 10. Pride. The most invisible enemy of power. Pride is dangerous because it disguises itself as strength. Machiavelli understood this well. A proud man stops learning. He stops observing. He stops adapting. And the moment adaptation ends, decline begins. Stoicism treats pride as a cognitive error, the belief that one's current position is permanent. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself that emperors before him were dust, not to humiliate himself, but to remain flexible. Pride locks you into yesterday's identity. Control of emotion requires the courage to revise the self. 11. The need to be liked. A subtle form of slavery. Machiavelli observed that leaders who seek affection above respect eventually lose both. The need to be liked is emotional dependence. Dependence creates hesitation. Hesitation creates vulnerability. Stoicism offers a brutal clarity here. You are responsible for your character, not for other people's approval. A person who is emotionally free can withstand disapproval without internal collapse. That freedom is a strategic advantage. 12. Real history. Napoleon Bonaparte and Napoleon's rise was fueled by emotional discipline. His fall by emotional excess. At his peak, Napoleon was calculated, patient, restrained. Later, pride replaced patience. Impulse replaced timing. Emotion replaced judgment. Machiavelli warned that fortune favors the bold, but abandons the arrogant. Napoleon forgot the second half. Destiny did not change. His emotional relationship to power did. 13. Controlled appearance. The Art of Seeming. Machiavelli famously wrote that it is not necessary to be virtuous, but to appear so. This is often misunderstood. He was not promoting deception. He was describing perception management. Emotion leaks through behavior. Uncontrolled emotion exposes reality prematurely. A disciplined emotional state allows you to choose what the world sees and when. Stoicism complements this inwardly. You do not need to reveal every inner struggle. Privacy of emotion is sovereignty. 14. Emotional control in relationships. Most power struggles do not happen in politics. They happen in personal relationships. Romantic relationships. Friendships. Family dynamics. Whoever reacts more emotionally loses leverage. This is not cruelty. It is structure. A Stoic does not punish with silence. He withdraws attention strategically. A Machiavellian does not beg for validation. He remains composed. Calm becomes gravity. 15. Real story. The quiet negotiator during the Cuban Missile Crisis. John F. Kennedy was surrounded by emotionally reactive advisors. Fear. Anger. Urgency. Kennedy slowed everything down. He delayed responses. He absorbed pressure. He chose restraint over escalation. History remembers this as one of the most emotionally disciplined decisions of modern leadership. Emotion mastered prevented catastrophe. 16. Fate and free will. The Stoic Machiavellian view. Stoics believed fate exists. Machiavelli believed fortune exists. Neither believed surrender was acceptable. You cannot control events. You can control preparation. You can control interpretation. You can control response. This is the intersection where destiny becomes negotiable. Emotion is the currency with which fate is negotiated. 17. Daily practice emotional discipline training. This philosophy is useless without application. Each day, practice pause before response. Delay emotional expression. Observe internal reactions without judgment. Ask, does this emotion serve strategy or sabotage it? This is not repression. This is command. 18. When emotional control fails. 7. Disciplined minds fail. Stoicism allows failure without collapse. Machiavelli allows recovery without self-pity. The mistake is not emotion. The mistake is indulgence. Recover quickly. Learn silently. Adjust behavior. Power is not perfection. Power is resilience. 19. Destiny revisite destiny is not mystical. It is cumulative. It is built from thousands of moments, where emotion asked for control and discipline answered first. You are not controlled by fate. You are controlled by what controls you. 20. Transition to final synthesis. What remains now is the deepest layer, the point where Stoicism and Machiavelli fully converge. Not in tactics. Not in morality, but in self. 21. Self-rule, the highest form of power. Before you can rule outcomes, before you can influence others, before you can shape destiny, you must rule yourself. Machiavelli understood something that most people refuse to accept. The man who cannot govern his inner state will always be governed externally. Stoicism called this autarkia, self-sufficiency of the soul. Machiavelli called it virtue, the capacity to act decisively under changing conditions. Different words, same mastery. Self-rule is not rigidity. It is adaptive strength. 2. The illusion of spontaneity. Modern culture glorifies emotional expression. Be authentic. Say what you feel. Never hide your emotions. Machiavelli would have considered this dangerous. The Stoics would have considered it immature. Spontaneity feels honest, but it often serves impulse, not truth. Unfiltered emotion is not freedom. It is exposure. The disciplined individual understands. Authenticity is not immediate expression. Authenticity is alignment with values, and values require control. 3. Real history. Bismarck and Potti and Chota von Bismarck unified Germany not through emotional speeches, but through patience, timing, and restraint. He absorbed insults. He delayed gratification. He waited while others rushed. Bismarck once remarked that politics is the art of waiting for the right moment. That waiting is emotional discipline. The impatient man seeks relief. The disciplined man seeks results. History rewards the second. 4. Why most people never control their destiny? Because emotional control is uncomfortable. It requires silence when ego wants noise, patience when fear wants action, restraint when anger wants release. Most people choose relief over mastery. They call it honesty. They call it being real. Machiavelli would call it weakness. Stoicism would call it enslavement to passion. 25. Emotional privacy, a forgotten skill. Not everyone deserves access to your inner world. The Stoics guarded their thoughts carefully. Machiavelli advised rulers to reveal little and observe much. Emotional privacy protects leverage, preserves clarity, prevents manipulation. 1. Everything is visible. Everything is vulnerable. A controlled emotional life is not secretive. It is selective. 6. Real story, the silent executive in modern corporate power structures. The most influential individuals are rarely the loudest. They listen more than they speak. They react less than others expect. They delay judgment publicly while deciding privately. This is not accidental. It is emotional economy. They spend emotion only where it creates return. 7. Stoic acceptance and Machiavellian action. Here lies the final synthesis. Stoicism teaches acceptance of what cannot be controlled. Machiavelli teaches action where control is possible. Together, they form a complete system. Accept reality without complaint. Act within reality without hesitation. Emotion has no vote in either step. Emotion may inform, but it does not command. To 8. Daily internal governance practical framework each day. Ask yourself, what emotion appeared today? Did it seek control? Or did I grant it authority? Where did restraint increase my leverage? Where did reaction cost me ground? This reflection is not moral. It is strategic. 29. The price of emotional mastery. Emotional mastery has a cost. You will be misunderstood. You will be called cold. You will be accused of distance. Machiavelli warned that the disciplined man will rarely be loved. Stoicism answers calmly. Love is not the measure of a life. Freedom is. 30. Final destiny. Principal destiny is not a gift. It is a consequence. A consequence of what you tolerate, what you resist, what you allow to rule you when emotion rules. Destiny reacts. When discipline rules, destiny responds. You do not control the world. You never did. But you control your judgment, your timing, your restraint, your response. And that is enough to bend destiny quietly in your favor. Control your emotions. Control your destiny.